Hi, Statesmen Nation. Welcome to another edition of Inside the Playbook. I'm Wade Steinluggy, SID here at William Penn. Before we get into our interview with head men's wrestling coach Aron Scott, as well as Cameron Hargrove, freshman wrestler out of Bolingbrook, Illinois, we're going to preview all of our events from for this coming week, but then also recap what happened last week. So we'll just get right into it here. Men's basketball, couple of wins last week. Mid-American Nazarene last Saturday, the team won 113-78, and then they defeated, in the annual TP game, defeated Grandview 111-75, biggest margin of victory in program history over the Vikings. Women's basketball team unable to play MNU last week because of COVID issues with the opponent, so they returned to action with an 80-72 big win over Grandview on Wednesday. Men's volleyball starting its 2021 season, second season in program history, defeating Culver Stockton 3-1 on Tuesday, and then falling 3-0 to number one Grandview on Thursday. Men's wrestling had three different opponents this past week. On Tuesday down in Kansas, the Statesmen defeated Central Christian Kansas 54-6, and then fell to Benedictine 22-15, and then on Thursday, just last night in the PAC, the Statesmen defeated Central Methodist, 34-16. Team now 8-3 on the year and 3-2 in the heart. Excuse me. The women's wrestling team competing for just the second time all year and the first time since December 9th. They unfortunately fell last night 43-1 to Grandview. So the team will now look to pick up some steam, as they'll be back on the mat again very shortly. The men's and women's track and field teams also got their 2021 indoor season underway last weekend at the Graceland Winter Series number 1. They'll be at Graceland a few more times during the winter indoor season, as that's one of the few indoor facilities in the region. But last Saturday, the men won 6 different events, including 2 each by Finn Alade and Jackson Coates, while the women won 3 events, 2 by Shania Newby and 1 by Elizabeth Healy. Looking ahead to what's coming down the pipe in the next few days for the Navy and Gold, the men's and women's basketball teams will be hosting Clark next Wednesday, and the women's team will also be playing a COVID postponed game. They'll be taking on Culver Stockton down in Canton, Missouri tonight. Men's volleyball will be hosting Clark next Tuesday as well, as they continue their 2021 season. Men's wrestling will have 4 different dual opponents in the upcoming days at the Missouri Valley Duels tomorrow. They'll take on host Missouri Valley, as well as Marion out of Indiana and Williams Baptist. And next Tuesday in Des Moines, the team will look for the ultimate upset, taking on number 1 Grandview. Women's wrestling will be at Central Methodist tonight. So again, quick turnaround after taking on Grandview last night. The track and field teams will be at the NAIA meet in Maryville, Missouri on Saturday. And then the field event athletes, the throwers, pole vault, jumpers, will be at the Grandview field meet next Tuesday in Des Moines. And finally, women's volleyball will start its abbreviated season after qualifying for the conference postseason tournament in April. They will be taking on a few opponents to get ready for their postseason matchup. They'll be taking on Trinity International and Judson on Friday, and then Cumberland on Saturday. They have a few more events next month as well. So that's all the action last week and upcoming this week for your Statesmen. If you can't be at any of these games, obviously make sure you're able to get on statesmanathletics.com. We'll have all the links available, but still plenty of chances to come out and see your Statesmen live. So best of luck to all the teams. When we return, we will have Coach Aron Scott as well as Cameron Hargrove of the men's wrestling team. You are inside the playbook. Welcome back, Statesman Nation. We are now joined by Aron Scott, head men's wrestling coach here at William Penn, as well as freshman men's wrestler Cameron Hargrove out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. Thank you guys so much for joining me for a few minutes. Coach, kind of the midway point of the year, actually probably pretty late in the year, and we only have a couple more duels, and then we have conference, so really late, but again, it's kind of COVID, so this is just a very weird year. but at least we're wrestling. So let's kind of do a quick recap on the first half of the season, where the positives, and there's been a lot of them. I mean, we're sitting at 8-3.
Yep.
Overall, a lot more wins in recent history, so got to feel good about that. And still a very young team that is showing a lot of promise.
Yeah, absolutely. So far been a really great year. I know we're making good strides, having some success, and doing it with a pretty young team.
Yeah.
Kind of recapping, November was kind of a short month. We didn't really, we had one competition. The others kind of had to get pushed back and postponed. So November we missed a couple matches. December was pretty good. Had some success there. We beat Baker for the first time in history, so that was really good for the team. And transitioned that into the Missouri Valley Duels. The first set, anyways, went down there, went 4-0. Guys wrestled really tough, and then we were looking to kind of go back down there again a few days later and have some of the same results, but that didn't happen. So kind of led up to a really good point before that Christmas break, and then kind of down a little bit, and then had some time off, came back, and then kind of, I think, more on a positive note. We're getting into some of conference foes, and conference is tough.
Yep.
So for the most part, the guys are wrestling really well right now, and I think we are starting to peak at the right time.
Yep.
And guys are, each time we're going out, guys are wrestling their best match so far, and that's kind of what we want to see. Looking forward to the duels this weekend, and basically next week, and then last thing is conference tournament.
Right. Which again we're hosting this year. Obviously we put on such a good show 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They said, let's do it again. So.
Yep.
All right, I'm going to switch gears over here, talk to Cam for a second. Cam, sitting at 9-1 in your freshman year. I don't know what your expectations were coming in, but just looking at the record, you got to feel like you're accomplishing a lot of your goals, hopefully. Just talk about a little bit of the changes in, obviously, going from high school to college, and also just kind of where you're sitting right now mentally, and how you feel about how your year's going.
Well, I'd say the biggest change was the practice room.
Sure.
Like at high school, I wasn't really getting beat that much in the practice room, but here, there would be days where I wouldn't even score on my wrestling partner, Steven. He'll just kick my butt the whole practice.
Yeah.
But so that was definitely a big change. But I'd say besides that, just weightlifting too.
Sure.
At high school, didn't really lift weights. Here we lift them every morning,
right.
7 a.m. But pretty big change.
Definitely. Yeah. And again, kind of your expectations. Were you thinking, hey, I'm going to come in, I'm obviously pretty confident high school wrestler, this can't be that hard or whatever, and then but you've had a lot of success. So were you expecting to do as well as you've done so far?
No, I didn't even expect to start.
Right.
I thought I was just gonna redshirt, get my body ready for next year, gain muscle. But I'm surprised that I was starting in 9-1. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Coach, talk about Cameron a little bit here. Again, one of these many freshmen or sophomores or redshirt freshmen that you've got in the lineup, guys that have maybe peaked a little earlier than maybe you thought. Obviously, again, he thought he wasn't going to be in the lineup, but talk about him, and then just overall kind of the youth factor that this is starting to actually pan off to where you thought it was going to. These guys are going to quickly become part of the lineup and a big difference makers.
Yeah, absolutely. And I would say that we've been pleasantly surprised with Cam too, and the way that he's wrestling and how he's progressing. But as a coach, recruiting kids out of high school, there's one of the major limitations to a wrestler reaching his potential is his practice room.
Right.
And we kind of know and understand that. We look at guys' potential and kind of where they are.
Yeah.
And if in wrestling, if you don't have good practice partners, then that's really going to limit you.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of the times that's we see some of that growth. We didn't really know like how quickly and how well they would make that transition, but Cam's done a really good job of making that transition, and I think a lot of it is also maybe his demeanor and his attitude towards wrestling. When you watch Cam wrestle, he doesn't show much emotion. It's very stoic, and I would say that is a big thing in wrestling. Last night's duel, for example, in on a shot, the guy scrambles, he gets taken down, but it's not a big deal.
Right.
He focuses on scoring next. He gets his escape. Continues to wrestle hard. His pace is keeps a heavy pace, high pace. Guys get tired. He wears them out, and then I think just like every other match, he went out there and pinned the guy. I think there's only been one match, the loss that he's had, that he's gone the distance, and that was to the number 11 guy, and we had him on the ropes.
It was 1 point.
At 1 point. I mean, we maybe looking back, we can go, say, hey, maybe we, because we tied it up. We took him down, maybe 45 seconds left. Maybe we, could have tried riding him. But you always kind of roll that dice of, if he gets out, you have less time to try to get that takedown. And, we were thinking, hey, we just took him down. He's tired. Let's give ourselves more time to score that point. So, I mean, so that's kind of a toss-up match. But everybody else, I think, either Tech or Penn, so he's, and I think a lot of that is, his, getting into a solid room where, he's being pushed, and his attitude and mindset, and then just his pace and going out there and just trying to score points.
Yeah, definitely. Cam, back to you. Again, something we talked about off camera. You like to go to your knees a lot and can maybe come at your opponent from a different angle, which is something that likely maybe they don't see a whole lot or ever at all, really. I mean, it's a little bit different, obviously. Let's talk about some of the advantages, and I guess going back all the way to where you said hey, you saw somebody when you were younger and you thought it was really cool. So kind of tell the history real quick of it, and then just kind of how it's been working out for you.
Well, I think I was like 8 years old when I saw it. I just thought it looked cool, like the little stance, and then like later, like started doing it, started getting like used to it. I'm like, oh, this is kind of working for me.
Right.
Like, and I'm pretty slow on my feet. Guys usually get to my legs, so like try to keep them from it. Get to my hands first. Disadvantage would be getting stuck in that front head, but I've been working on that in the practice room, obviously. But yeah, I don't know. It's working so far.
That's right.
Might as well not change it.
Yeah, don't fix it if it ain't broke.
Yeah.
Coach, talk about that a little bit, and how obviously you'd love to have everybody wrestle exact same way, because that'd be a really easy practice. This is exactly what we're going to do, but everybody goes different ways. I mean, if you got Cameron, or let's go with Stevens, he was extremely aggressive wrestler, comes right out and he's flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Cam's going from his knees. You got Kirkland Crocker, who's obviously a little more defensive. At least he was last night, I guess I should say. A little more defensive wrestler. Everybody is going at it a different way. But how do you, I guess, work with that in the practice room? But also, in just dealing with, I guess, all of the different mindsets, but also trying to marry that together, where you guys all have a kind of a common theme of how we're going to wrestle.
Yeah, so there's some fundamental principles that is true in wrestling, no matter what kind of style you have, and that's kind of what we work on as a group. And that's something that, hey, this is, no matter who you're wrestling, you're gonna experience this. Or, if you want to be successful, then we need to do these things. And that's where we'll focus on a group as that. But then we really encourage guys to be individuals out there and have those different styles. That works really well for us in the room. Because they've developed. They've spent so many years of their life developing that area and, beating on their craft, and then they've, mastered that or perfected it, so it's kind of like Joe in the front headlock, he's spent so much time. Well, then once we get guys in, or guys on their knees, or whatever that is, we will help them develop that area to help them become more dangerous, give them more weapons and arsenal, so that they can do more from there. And then that's really great for us in the practice room, because then we get to see all of those different styles and those different moves. So and that's going back to that practice room. Cam is able to see a bunch of different people, and then wrestling is a lot of experience and getting reps in, and then you're just allowing your body to get familiar with different positions. So the more that you're in a position, the more comfortable you get. So that way, when you go out in a match and someone puts you in a front headlock, you're comfortable. You know what to do. You know what the guy wants to do. You've done it before, and your body just kind of takes over. So the more that we have guys that are individuals and in the room, I feel like the better, more well-rounded we'll be overall.
Yeah, totally. All right, Cam, one final question for you. Let's just talk about wrapping up your freshman year. Still a lot of opportunities to have success and figure out, maybe getting yourself into nationals and fighting for an All-American spot, all of that. But what are your goals moving forward for the rest of this year?
Make it to nationals. That's the goal so far. It's
Yeah.
the only thing I'm thinking about right now.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, Coach, same thing for you as far as what are you guys looking for as a team moving forward these last few weeks?
Yeah, the next few weeks we want to, kind of what we're doing Saturday. That was something we added late. We want to give ourselves opportunities to see tough competition, so that we can get guys into the top 20. Because that's big. That's how we qualify for nationals. So we're trying to see guys that we can wrestle and compete against, so that we can position ourselves to get those automatic bids. So that's kind of our goal is, and each time we want to go out there and just continue to get better. So overall as a team, we want to get better every single day. We want to take advantage of opportunities to compete and position ourselves so that we can accomplish our goals, and making it to nationals. So, I think it's pretty realistic for us to have 5-6 guys going to nationals. That's and maybe more, but there's the great thing about wrestling, and it's been said before that rankings and paper don't wrestle. It takes a man to go out there and or woman, to go out there, a man in our instance, but to go out there and wrestle. So we've got to have that desire, and we got to have that fight, and we got to go out there and take what we want.
Well, and you guys are, again, having a lot of success this year. That's building upon success, and the confidence is growing. So hopefully, again, you're peaking at the right time. So best of luck. We'll talk about, obviously, talk more about you guys on our website going forward. But hopefully, we can talk about several qualifiers in a few weeks. So all right,
absolutely.
Best of luck once again,
thanks,
Coach Aron Scott, as well as freshman wrestler Cameron Hargrove out of Bolingbrook, Illinois. Thank you guys so much. Best of luck this weekend, the rest of the year.
Thanks, Wade.